probably know this character. Yes, he is the ultimate wizard. The one who held and protected the time stone before handing it over himself to a tall, muscular alien with skin resembling the color of a purple potato. Closer to home, right in Asia, we have the Erlang Shen. The brave war god with boundless magical power. He can fight to a draw and somewhat overwhelm even the renowned great sage equal to heaven. Additionally, there are many gods and characters considered to have extraordinary power in historical myths that I can't list all here, but they share a common point. That common point is usually located right on the forehead, exactly between the two real eyes, called the third eye. The third eye is often associated with ancient cultural features and cultivation elements from ancient Eastern traditions. It appears frequently in carvings at Buddhist and Hindu temples. It is believed that this all-seeing eye was bestowed upon the gods by the divine to grant them the supernatural ability to see through all things. But some also believe that even we, ordinary people, possess the hidden potential of this miraculous eye. So, is the third eye an illusion only appearing in movies or legends? And if the third eye is real, has anyone possessed or awakened it yet? Skip today. The mystery of the third eye, the infinite potential within each person. Intech Dental Clinic has nearly 20 years in the market, specializing in two services, braces and dental implants. For braces, Intech Dental Clinic utilizes X-Matrix technology, allowing 99.9% accurate prediction of brace results, preventing complication risk. For dental implants, the clinic employs the DCT implant solution, ensuring safe, no swelling, no pain, no bleeding during implantation. To achieve one-time implantation, lifelong peace of mind. Since ancient times, Eastern ancients often believed that energy emanates from a central part of the human body, and that center is the third eye. According to Taoism, practitioners who reach a certain level gain a third eye, called the wisdom eye, capable of seeing the invisible realm. In yoga, practicing Marata aims to attain some mysterious psychic abilities, such as awakening the third eye that others lack. Indians often mark a dot on the forehead between the eyes to represent the third eye, seeing what the two physical eyes look at but cannot perceive. So, what exactly is the third eye? Different cultivation circles have extremely clear concepts of the third eye and share certain similarities. Buddhism calls it the meditation eye. In Taoist records, the human third eye is often referred to as the celestial eye, heavenly heart, ancestral orifice, or mysterious gate. In summary, the third eye remains something quite mystical and more related to the spiritual world than science. But what if I told you that any of us possesses that miraculous third eye? Yes, humans possess the celestial eye. It's due to the pineal gland located inside the skull, which people call the pineal gland. The pineal gland has the ability to perceive very faint It's astonishing that, although deep inside, its actual structure is similar to regular eyes but in a more primitive state. Biologists in St. Petersburg discovered that the pineal gland cells are pigment cells resembling the retina. It secretes serotonin and melatonin, playing crucial roles in bodily functions. Melatonin is typically secreted at night and has a sedative effect, inducing sleep. Serotonin is secreted during the day to stimulate bodily movement. The production levels of these two hormones are adjusted accordingly. If too much serotonin is secreted, the excess automatically converts to melatonin. Besides the mentioned functions, the pineal gland is responsible for other bodily activities that hasn't been clearly studied. However, the key question here is why it has a structure similar to real eyes. A widely supported hypothesis is that the pineal gland once served some special bodily functions that have since been lost or hidden over time. According to evolutionary science's understanding of the pineal gland, this organ once existed as a system of nerve fibers on the surface of the skull. It captured light changes, providing us with more escape capabilities in case of predator attacks. This means that in the past, the pineal gland performed functions similar to breathing eyes. Today, due to various factors, the pineal gland has degenerated, and the nerve fiber system retracted into the skull. We can somewhat consider it a primitive retina. Although it no longer functions as an eye, it's certain that the pineal gland still holds an important sensory ability, a scientifically recognized mechanism. This is proven by the fact that if both eyes are removed and the long pathway from the front of the gland is exposed to light, it can still respond to stimuli similar to the upper eye. The hypothesis of a special primitive organ is supported by the famous Russian researcher Voronezh Anatoly Rodiano. He stated that the third eye is located in the parietal region or the cella turcica at the head from many centuries ago. This eye is very useful and has some special effects. It acts like a converging lens that transmits maximum information it receives, helping the observer monitor the surrounding world comprehensively. However, during the naming period, this eye migrated deep into the cerebral cortex, becoming the current pineal gland. We will see a very close connection to Indian art here. In ancient artworks, they always painted an eye on the forehead and considered it a center of invisible extrasensory abilities. Through research, it was also recognized that individuals with special abilities have the parietal bone so thin that it's like a membrane. That membrane is similar to the eye of frogs, lizards, and some other reptiles. So we can understand that they still maintain a pathway into the pineal gland of the brain. Clearly, the pineal gland we mentioned is somewhat very similar to a true third eye in biological and anatomical terms. But if it really helped humans in the past as hypothesized, why did it degenerate inward? Once again, through scientific research, humans discovered that in the structural organization of the adult pineal gland, there are crystalline particles like calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, and iron called brain sand. T have this strange thing called brain sand. After children reach 15 years old, the amount of brain sand begins to increase year by year. The human pineal gland is relatively developed in childhood, but after age 7, it begins to shrink and calcify with age. That is degeneration. As humans grow up, the pineal gland gradually becomes filled with brain sand and then degenerates. How is brain sand, the cause of pineal gland degeneration, produced? Some researchers believe that after humans enter a phase of more intense brain development to meet social needs, that's when the pineal gland undergoes transformation. We are frequently in a state of mental tension. Continuous sympathetic nervous system excitation negatively affects the pineal gland when it inhibits melatonin secretion. With this inhibition, the pineal body begins to calcify, shrink, and continuously degenerate, directly causing the pineal gland to close. Therefore, the magical third eye can no longer be used by humans. Toxins in daily products like fluoride hormone additives, sugar and artificial sweeteners, and a diet high in fluoride and calcium also cause great harm to the pineal gland. Additionally, the radiation effects of electric and magnetic fields when using mobile phones will cause the degeneration of the pineal gland to continue. Third eyes were all open. At that time, the pineal gland wasn't. Of course, it wasn't completely exposed like the two normal eyes, just located closer to the surface with nervous systems right outside the skull. This eye possesses functions to see and perceive worlds with higher frequencies. Therefore, people could see realms at different levels. In other words, the third eye belongs to humans' inherent functions. Everyone has it. But with changes over time, life became trapped in low-density three-dimensional space-time. Alongside the development of the material world, human energy and innate abilities didn't improve or evolve but rather degenerated. The functions of heavenly vision also be. Such a detailed hypothesis about the third eye sounds really well-founded. However, the idea that everyone had a third eye in the past is too hard to believe. In descriptions of ancient people, it's difficult if not impossible to find any information about ordinary people possessing a third eye. But it's possible that ancient people ruled out the third eye through some particularly outstanding individuals in a community and society. That means everyone has a third eye within them, but those who can actually use it are not many. Those who can use the third eye will possess a special connection with the spiritual world. Perhaps their pineal gland has developed far beyond others and especially hasn't degenerated due to brain sand. Then perhaps if we can activate all the functions that the pineal gland is hiding, we could perceive the existence of higher worlds. Dr. Joe Dispenza. Dr. Joe Dispenza specializes in researching the connection between the brain and spirituality. When tuned to mystical or spiritual frequencies, humans can experience the connection of the universe. He believes that when the pineal gland's nervous system activates, energy moves upward from the body toward the brain. Immediately, the brain enters what's called gamma brainwave patterns and humans receive full sensory experiences without needing the five senses. Everything that happens isn't due to human imagination, but they actually occur. The experiencer has actually entered a completely different world. If this is truly correct, then what the third eye sees is space of different frequencies, so our ordinary eyes cannot see them. Some people are born able to see these worlds and they're often called people with yin-yang eyes. They are the bridge between worlds from the highest to the lowest. But the universe is incredibly vast, with countless different worlds existing. Spiritual worlds also have places that can be penetrated and places that cannot. Isn't it very unreasonable to think that one can perceive all worlds? Certainly this cannot happen. The third eye, depending on each person, will also have different functional levels. So what are those levels? In Buddhism, there is a concept called the five eyes and six supernatural powers. The five eyes here refer to the physical eye, heavenly eye, wisdom eye, Dharma eye, and Buddha. This corresponds to the five levels that the third eye can possess. Among these, you, I, and everyone possess the physical eye, the ordinary eye of mortals. If the third eye is at the physical eye level, it probably doesn't have much function. The ordinary eye is said to only see what is near, without the ability for deeper foresight. Moreover, the physical eye is used to look forward, unable to see behind. It can only see during the day, but not at night. Generally, there are many limitations. For someone with an ordinary eye, having good health and clear vision is already very good. They can detect danger earlier and react faster to external factors. However, compared to the heavenly eye level, that is not enough. The heavenly eye can see near and far, front and back, day and night without obstruction. At this level, the third eye can see deeply into the nature of things and describe them without difficulty. Many ancient positions were practitioners of the way. Ancient medical texts record that they could see the internal organs of patients, thus knowing where problems existed. There were also divine doctors who drew detailed and clear meridian diagrams, as if seen through and inside the patient. so perhaps their third eye had reached the heavenly eye level. The most well-documented ability of the heavenly eye in history is the story of Wat Wo diagnosing Cao Cao's illness. He saw a tumor in Cao Cao's brain and suggested surgery to remove it for treatment. Cao Cao, hearing this, thought Wat Wo wanted to use treatment as a pretext to kill him, so as a result, Wat Wo died in prison. Later, Cao Cao actually died from that illness. Above the heavenly eye level, we have the wisdom eye level. This level can see all tangible and intangible things, thoroughly understanding their essence. What they mean, knowing past events and predicting the future. In the movie Pineal, after the protagonist drinks the water of life and fully awakens, the possessor sees through the past and future, very similar to the third eye's wisdom eye level. The wisdom eye is relatively high among the levels, but it is not the highest. The Dharma eye level brings even more wonders and marvels. The Dharma eye sees the causal transformations of things, how everything happens, changes, and resolves. The Dharma eye understands the interactions and transformations between things. The final level is the Buddha eye, which sees all phenomena. The Buddha eye encompasses all levels below it and can understand comprehensively, connect with the universe, and belong to all possible worlds. Of course, to achieve this level, one must undergo cultivation, then attain enlightenment to possess it. This is very different from the innate yin-yang eye that people often talk about. With the desire to provide readers with new and fascinating information about mysterious human phenomena that remain unexplained. Mysterious world, untold stories. This book will take you on an exciting journey, holding a completely new perspective on the world around us. Prepare to enter a magical world where unexpected secrets await you. The book link will be placed in the comments and description. Now, let's return to the main content. The levels of the third eye vary depending on each perspective and research method. As we have analyzed, since ancient times, there have been quite a few people who could use the third eye at high levels. Almost every civilization has such outstanding individuals. So in modern times, when the third eye has mostly degenerated, is there anyone still possessing and using its functions at a relatively high level? Now we will meet this girl. Her name is Natasha Demkina. She was born in 1987 and lives in Saransk, Russia. Like other ordinary girls, Natasha had a very peaceful life. That peaceful life quickly ended when an appendicitis attack nearly took her life at age 10. Appendicitis is not actually too complicated. Due to timely rescue, Natasha had her appendix removed and quickly returned to normal life. Apart from that, nothing unusual happened until one day, Natasha suddenly said to her mother standing in front of her, "Mom, there's a seed and a coiled tube in your belly. And something like a fruit is moving too." S mother thought her child was talking about trivial matters and didn't. But gradually, Natasha described more and more about things she said were inside other people's bodies. Seeing the strangeness in her daughter's perception, the mother took her to the hospital for examination. Here, Natasha frightened the examining doctor by describing in detail the parts inside his body. Being young, Natasha couldn't use medical terminology to name each part of the body. She only knew how to describe kidneys as veins, intestines as coiled hoses. All the specialist doctors present at the hospital came to witness the strangeness, and they too couldn't explain that special ability. Thus, Natasha performed ultrasound on each organ, determined disease conditions, and identified abnormalities in the body. Through many tests and examinations, doctors said her diagnoses were sometimes more accurate than those of doctors with advanced medical equipment support. organs, Natasha couldn't. News about a girl with miraculous X-ray vision quickly spread, attracting attention from the media and scientists. They came to her house to interview and request research. Because her child was too young, Natasha was scared and refused to meet anyone except family relatives. Being disturbed too much, the mother had to seek help from the police and local security forces. Since gaining the strange ability, Natasha herself also underwent major internal changes. She was no longer as lively as before, just staying silent, refusing to talk. Instead, she suddenly showed great interest in medical books. Whenever free, Natasha would pull out books to read, moreover reading engrossed her with great pleasure. By age 15, Natasha began to understand everything. She went to the hospital herself, requesting to participate in activities researching. Natasha herself also wanted to understand clearly what was happening and was connected with the Center for Research on Human Potential. Here, Natasha underwent many rounds of examinations, health monitoring, and experiments. All researchers agreed that Natasha's ability to diagnose diseases with her eyes was sometimes more accurate than doctors with modern medical equipment support. Natasha said she could control her eye vision. If she wanted to check someone's health condition, she could easily switch from normal observation to second sight in an instant. Just by concentrating her eyes, Natasha could clearly see the entire structure inside the human body, the positions and functions of organs. It's hard to explain how Natasha recognized diseases in the body. Problematic organs emitted a kind of radiation, helping her immediately identify the damaged location. Not limited within the country, information about the girl with X-ray eyes quickly spread throughout Russia and beyond borders. Early in 2004, after graduating high school, Natasha was invited by medical experts to London, UK, to participate in a live television program with a theme of human extraordinary abilities. The person for Natasha to diagnose was Brianna Warden, a journalist for the Hunt Times. Natasha didn't know Mrs. Warden had suffered multiple injuries in a car accident in late 2003. She diagnosed Mrs. Warden's condition while Mrs. Warden remained fully clothed. Mrs. Warden recounted that day in amazement. At first I was skeptical until she accurately described the cracks in my body, as if she was watching my X-ray film. She correctly identified the injured back area that was fragile. She described my ulna as misaligned, and even pointed out more cracks on the right side. When looking at my jaw, she said she saw a foreign object. That's true, I had to attach a titanium metal piece to support my jawbone after the accident. And finally when she detected the injury in my left leg, I was surprised because she pointed out 2 fractures in the shins. She saw traces of nails, metal marks. 2 weeks after that drama, Mrs. Warden's leg had been fixed with many screws. Although Natasha couldn't see the scars left on the skin from the fixation, she could still accurately tell the position of each screw. Even, she indicated that the scars left by the screws were now covered with a new layer of color. In 2005, Professor Yoshio Maki at Tokyo University, famous as an expert researching human extraordinary abilities, wanted to invite her to Japan to verify. In this trial, Natasha had to undergo multiple ability tests, but all succeeded beyond expectation. She could clearly describe the condition of a patient with an artificial knee tone, a person with organs in asymmetrical positions, and a patient with a rare wave-like spinal curvature. Comparing Natasha's drawings with X-ray films, scientists were even more amazed because they were completely identical. This ability doesn't. Scientists from the land of the rising sun were astonished when Natasha could diagnose without meeting the patient, using only a photo. When shown a small passport-sized photo of someone, she quickly concluded that the person in the photo had liver disease. The passport holder at that time insisted this person had just had a checkup 4 months prior and had no illness whatsoever. Immediately, scientists took the passport holder for testing. Surprisingly, this person was in the early stages of liver inflammation. Natasha knows her special ability is very useful for medicine, but she dreams of becoming a doctor to practice saving lives legitimately. Currently, she works at the Special Diagnostic Center in Moscow. During one diagnosis session, doctors concluded a female patient had cancer. However, after Natasha used her special ability to check the patient's condition, she only saw a small benign cyst. Doctors had this patient re-examined, and this time the results were completely negative, showing no cancer as initially diagnosed. Is Natasha's third eye truly that superior, and are there others in the world with similar supernatural abilities? In 1995, the CIA declassified and approved the release of documents revealing involvement in a secret program called Stargate, lasting 25 years. Among them were extremely notable documents about Ingo Swann, a program participant who could see characteristic rings around Jupiter before NASA confirmed them with the Pioneer 10 spacecraft. Some individuals could also see objects or people in separate areas completely blocked from the observer's position. In 2003, The Washington Post reported that from 1979 to 1989, during conflicts with terrorist organizations, the U.S. Department of Defense used psychics with special third eye abilities. Joe McMoneagle was one of them, assigned to locate where American hostages were held, weapons caches, or headquarters of these organizations. Documents obtained by the Washington Post indicated that the psychic's work brought success to military operations. The secret of remote viewing. Regarding the cases of special abilities from the third eye mentioned earlier, people can easily recognize them at the level of celestial vision. Because all could see objects thousands of kilometers away, communicate with the universe, or see through solid objects, but there was no connection between past and future. So at a higher level, has humanity ever had any cases that achieved this? The answer is definitely yes, with examples as mentioned. Famous prophets, including Baba Vanga and Nostradamus, are understood to have possessed the third eye at the level of divine vision. For higher levels, there are currently no convincing cases studied in detail. Perhaps being limited to this frequency space prevents humans from researching up to the Dharma eye level, which can see other worlds. Based on scientific evidence and experiments conducted, we have the right to believe that somewhere in each person, a third eye with infinite potential truly exists. Over time, though it has degenerated, clearly it is always there. So, is there any way to open this eye, helping oneself reach higher abilities? If you search for tools, it's not difficult to find guides on opening the third eye, and of course, some places will ask you to pay for it. However, be extremely cautious about such information. We should only listen and refer, not hastily believe in such things. In reality, meditation practice is acknowledged as beneficial for opening the human celestial eye. A research report in Nature magazine on November 15, 2007, stated that scientists used various brain imaging techniques to record brain maps created through meditation. The research team discovered that during meditation, the pineal gland in the brain showed clear signs of stimulation. In practice, many people from personal experience also realize that. When meditating with eyes closed, they can see a strange landscape as if the celestial eye has opened. Through diligent meditation, these people gradually gain the ability to reach certain desired states. Some can feel the movement of energy in the body, sensing warm currents circulating. Some, when energy passes through the third eye area, receive a stimulating light. However, not everyone achieves this state. Opening the third eye is actually a form of spiritual practice, and practice emphasizes morality. In other words, without cultivating virtue, the celestial eye cannot open. We often say that young children can often see many things adults cannot. Religious circles believe this is because children's pure nature allows direct communication with the universe. As children grow up, their initial pure nature gradually disappears. Similar to how modern humans become cunning and wise after living in society for a long time. Therefore, the third eye will also no longer be visible. In essence, it is much more difficult for adults to cultivate and open the third eye compared to children. Do you feel a special energy within your body while watching this video? The third eye is often difficult to manifest or open by ordinary people like us. But you can stimulate it through meditation as suggested in the video. Whether you can open this miraculous eye or not, meditation is fundamentally a very beneficial activity for everyone. Whether you can open this miraculous eye or not, fundamentally, meditation is a very good activity, supporting the mental and physical health of all. What are your thoughts on today's video? Please share your opinions and feedback so the channel can improve in the future. For now, goodbye everyone, sending greetings and looking forward to seeing you in the next. Wishing everyone a good day with your family. Subscribe to the Dark Truth Files channel to watch fascinating videos.